I was 15. I didn't bring any drugs to school. I didn't break any of the rules they had, but they still expelled me. I've stayed silent for nearly 2 years until now. My name is Caden Miller and I am 17 years old, and I was expelled from Cimarron, Kansas High School. Not because I was dangerous, but because I was an easy target. I've heard all kinds of rumors about what happened, so today I'm telling my side of the story so everyone knows the clear truth of what happened. Alright, here's what happened. An 8th grade girl that I barely even knew. I only knew her face from seeing her around school, hallways, and that kind of stuff. Didn't know her name, didn't know where she's from, anything. She handed me a rainbow pencil bag, and then she asked me to give it to a student, another 8th grade student that I went to school with. I thought I was just doing a favor for, some fellow students, nothing serious. I had no idea what was inside the bag. No idea. I didn't look in it, didn't even care. Less than an hour later, I got pulled out of my science class by the school counselor, someone who I had trusted. She asked where the bag was. I was confused, and I just said it was in my backpack, because I figured she was talking about the bag. I always brought my backpack with me to work after school, so that's where I had put it. She had me grab it out of my locker, and she took me straight to the front office. That's when it clicked in my head, something was wrong. I was freaking out. I was stressing. I had no idea what was going on until we get to the office. So we walk in, and the principal is standing right there. She immediately says, "Hand me the bag." And so, what do? I hand her the bag. She opens it, she grabs the rainbow pencil bag, opens it, sniffs it. I think she enjoyed it. I think she wanted it for herself. She pulls out some pre-rolls, a pipe, and then some sort of over-the-counter pill. And I think there may have been some other stuff in there, I don't remember. Then after that, things got worse. I was taken into the principal's private office with the assistant principal, no cameras, no counselor, no parent, just me. 15 years old, by the way. I sat in that room for what felt like 30 minutes getting interrogated by the assistant principal of Cimarron High School. I kept saying the truth. I didn't know what was in the bag. I thought I was just doing a favor. They didn't care. They weren't there to listen. They were there to blame someone. At one point they told me, "You should have just assumed there was weed in it." Let that sink in. I was 15 years old, and the people in charge were seriously telling me I should have assumed a random rainbow pencil bag from a classmate had drugs in it. That should not be a normal thing to assume. That should not be an expectation. That is not how kids should be taught to think. I wasn't paranoid, I wasn't reckless, I was just doing something kind for another person. That is how I am. They turned that into a crime. Next thing I know, the police is there. 3 or 4 deputies. I don't really remember exactly because there was people walking in and out, in and out. It was chaotic. So much going on. They had all the office doors locked down. There was I think there was a basketball game going on, so that everyone knew. Everyone knew I was in there. It was embarrassing. I was able to look out the windows in there, and I saw people staring at me in there. It was embarrassing. I don't think any of the cops had their body cams on, but I can't be completely sure because the Gray County Sheriff's Office has refused to give me access to the footage when I requested it because I was a juvenile at the time. So back in the principal's office, it was not serious to them at all. I was taking this shit serious. I was stressing. They were laughing at me. They were making fun of me, making jokes. They treated it like entertainment, like my life was a joke. I carried a small pocket knife on me nearly every day, just cause, like a lot of kids do around here. Some kids literally have guns in their trucks out here, and nobody says a thing. I handed over my knife calmly when the deputy asked. But the principal suddenly freaked out, saying he could have tried to stab me. I've never gotten into a fight in my life. Ask anyone, I've never been violent. So I snapped back at her and I told her, I'm not a fucking murderer. And she shot back at me and she said, this is what she said. You are a criminal and a drug dealer. Who knows what else you are capable of? For months, that sentence stuck in my head. It became the only way I see myself. It became the way most people in this very town see me still. These were people that we are told to trust every day by our parents, by our friends, by our neighbors, teachers, administrators, deputies. They laughed at me while tearing down a scared kid with a daughter on the roof. They knew my daughter was due soon. They knew how vulnerable I was, but they still mocked me, ignored me, and judged me. Finally, after some time of that, my dad finally shows up. I thought he would speak up for me. I thought something would finally shift and be better. Nothing changed. He stood there like they did. Didn't question anything, didn't defend me, just blended in and chatted with them. I had no support, and in that moment, it broke something inside of me. After a bunch of talking with the school administration, police, but just a bunch of stuff, I had to write a statement for the deputies. I tried to write every single detail, honest detail, possible. I was so overwhelmed though, and I was still doing it. The deputy that was there waiting for me to be done, he was rushing me. He was telling me that he had other stuff to do and I needed to hurry up. I wasn't being protected, I wasn't being listened to, I was just being processed like I didn't matter. This wasn't about drugs, it wasn't about school safety, it was about control. And covering up a broken system that doesn't know how to take care of kids. This town has a real drug problem, especially with alcohol, which parents here actually normalize and enable. I know this firsthand. There was a time when I was drinking myself to sleep just to numb the depression and escape my reality. And I know I'm not the only one. Trust me, I know I'm not the only one. But instead of asking why so many kids are hurting, instead of offering help or support, they just punish us. They punish children. No empathy, no healing, just expulsion and exile. Now let me be clear real quick. I do support the legalization of marijuana and psychedelics when used with intention, responsibility, and healing. I have done my research, countless hours of research I've spent researching the scientific benefits of it. These substances have real potential when used correctly. If you are interested in that side of the conversation, drop a comment below, subscribe. I'd love to talk about it more. But what I don't support is the way the system uses addiction and trauma as an excuse to erase kids. Erase them, send them to the streets, instead of understanding them. This wasn't about weed, this was about pain and fear. About a system that's more comfortable with silence than the truth. And this isn't the only town like this, guys. It's like this everywhere. I stayed quiet because I was ashamed. Because they made me feel like I had no voice. But I do. And now I'm going to use it. Here's what they didn't expect from me. I've requested every document, every file, every video tied to my expulsion. I am holding them accountable using public records law. The response was, that'll be $450. Yep, they are charging a 17-year-old $450 just to see why I was expelled and what they did to me. Now, that's just shady to me. And not just shady, intentional. They don't want people to see how their system really works and how they treat children. But I will show you guys. I am not telling this story to play the victim. I'm telling it because there are other kids out there just like me, and they need someone to let them know that they have a purpose and that they shouldn't be thrown away. They shouldn't be labeled, they shouldn't be shamed, they shouldn't be forgotten. These kids deserve better. They deserve to be heard. They deserve a future. If you've ever been silenced, blamed, or broken by the very people who were supposed to protect you and be there for you, this story is for you. If you want more content like this, like, subscribe, follow. If you have any questions or you want more information on anything, just comment. I'm all ears.